Hello, I'm David Vos, and it's good to see you. Got quite a bit to say today. Again, I don't have anything written down. Just some thoughts in my head that I want to talk about. Well, we talked about how crazy this world is in the last video, and how hard to believe, the lies and all of the stuff that we've been lied about. Today, I think after you hear this, you're going to say it's worse than you thought. What I'm about to tell you is that if you think it's immoral to eat meat on the basis of the fact that we may torture the animals, it gets worse. What we're doing with the agriculture is even worse. There's more of an argument to stop eating agriculture than there is to stop eating meat. And I wouldn't eat meat for the very reason that it's torturing the animals. I wouldn't eat the meat. I think it's a moral decision. But it's even more immoral what we're doing to the earth, to Mother Earth. Imagine 1 acre of ground. And on that acre of ground, we're going to go back, say, 5,000 years, when we come to America and there wasn't any people there, and there was nobody, there was no cities or anything. Now there was grass, and there was tundra, there was rocks and soil and minerals in the soil. There was bugs, worms, birds, mosquitoes, insects. There were deer, buffalo, wild turkey, pheasants, quails, hummingbirds, squirrels, rodents, rabbits, mosquitoes, perhaps thousands of different kinds of animals. And that only covers animals and insects. I mean, there are literally maybe millions beyond millions of microorganisms that are in the ground. When we came to this country, there were 60 million buffalo. It's estimated. We killed every last one of them and brought in 40 million cows. We took those cows off that land, that 1 acre, put them on concrete in the city to live. Now they had to have something to eat, so we took that acre of ground, we turned it into corn. We took a tractor, plowed it under, there's no more grass, drove off the flowers, the butterflies, the bees, the animals, the hummingbirds, the turkeys, the ravens, the starlings, the robins, the magpies, the mud daubers, the weasels, the badgers, the raccoons, everything. Hundreds and hundreds of species of animals, birds, reptiles, snakes, worms, insects, all the way down with our pesticides and chemicals that we do on that soil. We've killed every microorganism, and everything that's left is gone. And we've done that almost worldwide now. And then it doesn't stop there. At that point, the soil erodes and goes into the river, and all those chemicals go into the water. All the fish die. Now the water table, because the roots used to be there and the soil was there, kept the water table up. Now the water has gone down and the roots can't even reach the water. So all the trees anywhere else that even where we're not growing things, they're dying because they can't reach the water table. So Mother Earth is dying. You see, agriculture is a great conspiracy to kill us and our world, to keep us poor, to enslave us all. The same thing that's happening to our earth is happening just about that same way to just about everything else. What are we eating then? We're not eating that cow. We're, in its condition where the cow is healthy. We're feeding the cow the corn that we grew on that land. And that corn not only is hybridized and we've put hormones and HM GMOs in it, modified organisms, and changed the DNA and the structure and so now that corn is rotting. They've proven this. It's just destroying the cow's guts. The cows are getting ulcers all throughout their bodies. They have to pump the cows full of antibiotics, hormones. So we're eating these sick cows. No more fatty acids anymore. They're being fed on corn and soy and things. It's bad for our health. We're dying. And they're feeding us drugs to combat the diseases that we're getting. And we're killing the earth in the same foul swoop. But our food that we're eating not only has all of the problems that I just mentioned, but it's being grown from the same soil for years and years and years, and there isn't any more minerals or anything in that soil. Now this food, the corn, all the corn that you buy, all the soy, all the wheat, all the oats, all the beans, all the peas, the peanuts, and everything that you go to the store and buy, the squash, the corn, the pumpkins, it's got any more minerals. And we know that, but it doesn't have any of these phytochemicals or nutrients. That's why, like I said in the last video, they'll find some wild plant off in Brazil somewhere and say it's got some phytochemical that we need. Well, all plants originally had all these phytochemicals and nutrients and vitamins, but they don't anymore. They are hybridized, seedless, GMO'd, and they're making us sick, and they're killing Mother Earth. They're killing the animals. They're torturing Mother Earth and the animals, and they're torturing us. It's a vicious circle. I talked last time about the fact that we're not eating these biochemicals and nutrients, and if you did eat them, you could live forever. And I mentioned also the fact that we're only now beginning to realize that it isn't just these vitamins that we need, but it's essential things that we, not very long ago, said was bad for your health, like cholesterol. Now we know that there's HDL, LDL, and one is good and one is bad. There's omega-3 and omega-6, and we're putting all these words and names to everything and making us think that we're smart. But in reality, we're dumber than a bag of rocks. But to try and explain this in the modern scientific lingo, all the food that we're eating now has no fatty acids, not even the cows. The way that when you eat butter, butter has these omega fatty acids that are vital to our health, just like olive oil and fish and avocados and nuts. But when you feed the cow these modified foods, now Monsanto and these other groups, Cargill, they're saying, oh, it doesn't bother anything. It's no big deal. It doesn't hurt anything. Well, what it's doing is it doesn't have the nutrients. And it's modified so it's not, you can't digest it, and it's eating holes and giving us ulcers. Because of the fact that it won't digest properly and we can't absorb the nutrition in our system, it makes our body acidic, and we've learned recently that there are certain mice that live like twice as long as other mice because they have the ability to process proteins different. And the way they do it is with fatty acids. Now, I don't know a whole lot about that. And again, it's just all a bunch of science mumbo jumbo. But the key in nature was these fatty acids. And the reason I say that is because now this is something a lot of vegetarians will say, well, you know, we get our vitamin A from carrots, and we get our vitamin D from the sun, and we get our vitamin K from kale and stuff like that. You can't do it. You don't. They call retinol and carotene vitamin A, both of them. And it's not true. They're two different substances. Carrots has carotene. But meat, fish, and those fatty acids, they don't have carotene, they have retinol. Your body has to have that. Your body cannot absorb carotene. And even if you have all your recommended vitamin A in your bloodstream, if it's carotene, you're highly deficient. Do you know that minerals cannot even be absorbed into the body without the presence of fats? Without the presence of those fatty acids, healthy fatty acids. So we took butter and we said, that's a pretty good thing, but it's too expensive. When we went to the war, we had, you know, short of funds, so we invented something that we called margarine. What it is, and we're doing the same thing with you ever wonder what it means to be homogenized milk? Homogenized means it's genetically modified. The genetic strand of the milk has literally been changed into a longer chain of DNA, so that way you can't digest it. And the reason they do it is because they don't want the fat that's in the milk to get all clogged up there and look bad. They want it to look all the same. Isn't that ridiculous? And by homogenizing the milk, it's killing us. Milk is just like margarine. It's supposed to be like butter. It doesn't have the correct kind of fatty acids in that chain, that short little chain that is capable of being digested. So all the milk that we're drinking isn't able to be digested properly. Just like this margarine is, you ever get petroleum oil on your fingers and you can't get it off without detergent? Well, that's the way it is with this margarine that goes into our system. It doesn't come out of our system once it goes in, because it doesn't absorb and burn up as energy. So it just stays in there. And the milk is doing the same thing. It doesn't digest correctly, because they're feeding these cows these genetically modified foods, and it's literally genetically modifying the fats into a different chain length, which can't be absorbed. And therefore, our cells cannot reproduce themselves, and they begin to make mistakes, and they create cancer. They don't have the ability to then, without the proper kind of oil, the fatty acids in the proper chain, without the homogenization, without the all that they're doing, so we can't absorb the minerals. And minerals are very, very important in the reconstruction of our protein in our cells. You see, we need the kind of iron that's called hemi-iron, because it helps with the synthesis of hemoglobin in our blood, because it works with oil-based fat and not the water-based. That's what carotene is. It's a water-based rather than an oil-based vitamin A. And it can only work in parts of our body that's water-based. It can't go into the fatty acids in our brain, so we get Alzheimer's. It can't go into the heart, the fatty tissues and so forth in our heart, and repair those, because it's not oil-based retinol. And this is the same with all of the vitamins. Vitamin D, we say, oh, we get vitamin D, we're doing fine, but we're not getting vitamin D3, which is oil-based. And then they say, well, we got vitamin K, we're getting it in the broccoli, and we're getting it in the kale, and we got plenty, you know. But again, it's water-based. We need vitamin K too. From the soil to the animals to our bodies, it's all immoral, and we're all going to die for it. And now what little bit of minerals and things we have left in the soil is being washed out right now as we speak into the water, killing the fish. And once the fish die, Mother Earth will be dead as well. So really, that's all I have to say today, and hope you guys have a very great rest of the week, and we'll catch you next time. It's David Vos.